I've got a little story time for you guys, and it has to do with the perfect relationship. Except, I'm going to tell you what, the perfect relationship in this instance just ended, and with extremely good reason. So, to preface this, I just met for coffee with a friend of mine. She's a woman, just strictly platonic friend. She's been my friend for probably 10 years. She helped me start my business. She owns a business herself. She helped me a lot in the early stages and all that. And so we've always met multiple times throughout the year just to catch up, see how things are going. And so we had met up, and it was the first time in like 9 months, which is actually kind of a while for us meeting up. And guys, it gets interesting. But anyway, so we meet up, and we're just chit-chatting a little bit. And she tells me, she's like, "Oh, Adam, I got good news for you." Because one of her good friends, and this lady I'm talking to is a few years older than myself. I think she's like 35 or 36. And so she's like, "I got good news for you." And I was like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Rachel is single now." And Rachel is a friend of hers that she went to school with and all that. And I went to college with her. And when I was a freshman, she was like a senior. And she was super sexy and really sweet. So I always had like a little crush on her. And but she had been in a relationship for like probably 7 or 8 years. And so she brought that up. She's like, "Yeah, she's single now. Her boyfriend, kicked her out of the house." And I was like, "Wait, what? Tell me about this." And so she explained to me that this girl, Rachel, and this guy that she was with, they had been together for a long time. And this woman that I'm explaining, my friend here, told me, and she's like, "Yeah, I was shocked because they were like the perfect couple. They were always so fun together. They were always like just great together, always having a good time, always flirty together." And so she was shocked. And she explained the situation to me. So the situation was that for the past year and a half, this Rachel girl had not had a job. She lost her job. And she was too filled with anxiety to find another one. She would like start, on her resume and get like a sentence in, and then she'd get overwhelmed, and so she would just put it off. So for a year and a half, she had no job. She was living with her boyfriend, rent-free, right? He was paying for all that. But apparently, too, my friend was telling me that she still somehow would have money for these like girls' trips. She'd be like flying here, flying there, and having fun on these girls' weekends and all that. And she told me that she thought that the boyfriend was paying for a lot of those trips, or at least some of those trips for her, because she had no money. She wasn't working for literally a year and a half. And so the first shocking thing I want you guys to understand about this is, again, my friend says they were like the perfect couple. However, my friend also would explain to me how when they would go to Seahawks games, tailgating parties, all right, my friend would go with this friend, Rachel, and they would have like a group together. And then Rachel's boyfriend had been a longtime Seahawks fan, so he would always go tailgate, and he had this tailgate, for years with his buddies. So they would go to the game together, but they would tailgate separately. And so, again, my friend was telling me that this Rachel girl, as they were together this whole time, the perfect couple, this Rachel girl would use her friend's car to sneak off and have sex with the random guys at the tailgates, even when her boyfriend was at the same tailgate, right? Her boyfriend was at a different tailgate at the same game, and this girl, the perfect couple, would sneak behind this guy's back to have sex with other men in the car. So we can only imagine how many times this happened when she was on her girls' trips and all that other stuff, right? Now, the guy had no idea. He's never found out about it until, maybe he found out recently or something. But that is the first thing we need to stop and like pull back, right? My friend knew this was happening this entire time for years, and she still considered them the perfect couple. So I stopped her right there and I was like, where is the hope in any type of relationship if you are referring to them as the perfect couple and she's been cheating on him for years? For years. So that was the first thing, and then my friend kind of like thought about it, and she's like, oh, like kind of like good point. Okay, now apparently the boyfriend just out of nowhere kicked her out of the house. Well, she was unemployed for a year and a half, going on these trips and all that instead of finding a job. So this was definitely not out of nowhere, but good for him. Apparently, he will not return her texts. He will not return her phone calls. I have the feeling that one of his buddies or someone else told him that she was cheating on him or something, and then he was just like totally fed up with it. So good for him. We have another brother that I guarantee you has now probably found the red pill or MGTOW because of situations like this. But again, think again. The perfect couple that my friend knew out of all of the friends that she has. She has a lot of married friends. She has a lot of other, girlfriends that are in relationships. And this was the perfect couple in her eyes, and she knew that this woman was cheating on him this entire time. Again, this is the state of modern relationships. This is the state of it. That's crazy that she thought this was the perfect couple. So now how I want to finish this is with a little bit of a positive ending here. Because when she, explained this to me, and again, I hadn't met with this girl for 9 months. And any of you guys that have followed me for over 9 months know that my tone has changed a little bit because, again, I've been always like single, dating around and all that, having fun, gaming women and all that stuff. But I didn't realize the dangers of guys getting in relationships until I looked into all the laws and all of that stuff, right? I've covered that many times. So, this is the first time that she had had a chance to talk with me again because we hadn't hung out for 9 months, right? Since my whole new perception changed where I was like, realize how corrupt the court systems are. And again, guys, to anyone that, like, my parents are still together, I have, like, all my relatives, there's, like, very few, if any, divorces. Like, very few. Like, I can count maybe a couple on my hand with all my relatives. I got really lucky in a family that values families and all that stuff. So to guys that haven't had parents go through divorce, haven't been screwed over themselves, a lot of guys just are blind to the court system because why would you look into it, right? Why did I look into it? That's why I talk about this so much now, is because the guys that don't know about this, like, that it's stuff that they need to find out before it's too late. So now, with my friend now. So we're moving on from that other perfect relationship. She's, whatever. I don't know what she's going to do, but hopefully this guy does not take her back because he deserves a lot better. He deserves freedom. He'll probably be by himself for a bit, which would be a good move. Now, my friend. So then I stop her and I basically tell her, because then she's like asking me how my business is going and all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, things are going good, but, I told her, I was like, I no longer, in my right conscience, can tell any man to get into a relationship. I cannot tell him to get into a relationship. And you know what? Relationship is fine, I guess, whatever you guys want to do. But living together or, getting married. And so I brought those up, and it was the first time I really brought up the marriage laws to her. Now, just to let you guys know, my friend has been divorced before. She got divorced in her mid-20s. And so right when, I said that, she started to kind of like nod her head. And let me tell you guys this. I'm telling you, her whole energy changed when we started talking about this, okay? She got quiet and she got focused. And so I'm telling her about, what I found out about the marriage laws and family court and how divorce lawyers will basically tear the couple apart and get them to fight to get more money, and that the court systems are all favored towards women. So lawyers will a lot of times tell, the women to think about domestic abuse and all these other things that they can use in the court. And when I was saying that, right, she knew, she's been through this. So she was like nodding her head. She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I get it. I know. Okay. So again, her whole demeanor changed. And because this is the first time she's heard me in our huge, long friendship we've had talk about this. So I was like, I can no longer, in my right mind, tell guys to get married or to live with a woman or anything. Like, I just can't. Not until laws change. Like, there's no way I can. Like, I can't do that. And then, which is kind of funny because that's how I've always lived my life, is just being single. So it actually makes it a lot easier on me anyway, because I don't have to try to tell guys to get in a relationship, because I personally don't believe in one. So I stopped and I just told her, I said, because she's currently in a relationship. This is why I hadn't seen her for like 9 months. She's been like glued to the hip with this guy. And I told her, I said, and I'm not going to use her name, but I just said, hey, I just want to let you know one thing. Treat your man good, because I'm telling you right now, there are so many men that are literally just walking away from the game. They're just done. They've figured out what's going on and they are done. And then I brought up again the past perfect relationship. I'm like, how can the perfect relationship in your mind be where she was cheating on this guy all the time and he was paying for all of her rent and all this stuff? It's like, that's the ideal relationship and that's how he was treated. So again, she got it. She wasn't combating me. She knew exactly what I was talking about. And again, that's where her eyes got really wide. She was kind of terrified because, again, she's in her mid-30s. And so I told her, I was like, if you lose this guy, I'm just being honest, I don't know how easy it will be to find another good man. Like, I really don't. Like, her boyfriend right now that she's with, he's a really good guy. Now, in my opinion, and I haven't met him, just from stories she's told me and all that, he seems a little bit like a beta male, beta provider type guy. But I was telling her, I was like, treat him well. Be appreciative of him. Be feminine. Make him feel masculine. All these things. I was trying to give her this advice because, again, I see now what's happening is a lot of you guys see what's happening. It's like men are walking away, and rightfully so. So I'm telling you guys, her body language completely diminished. She changed. Her eyes got big. And then here's why I call this optimism, is she started asking me questions. She was like, okay. She was like worried. She says, okay, I hear you. And she goes, all right, so how would you deal with this situation? So she would bring up these little things that were bothering her about her boyfriend. And now, whereas before she didn't really have a care to necessarily figure out how to work this out, she probably would have just like done whatever she wanted. She started to get in learner mode, and she was like, okay, what should I do? How should I approach this without, scaring him off, basically? And guys, I'm telling you what, I know you guys weren't in this situation with me, but again, I've known her for so long, and this is the first time I saw her completely change into that type of mode. Like, everything about her changed because she had been through divorce, so she knew the corrupt systems. Again, I never knew about that. And then when I called her out on the perfect relationship, that woman was cheating on the guy the whole time. And she was like, okay, yeah, you have a really good point. And then, I told her that, because I sit here and talk to guys basically all day long. This is like my job, right? And I was like, guys are walking away, and I am telling them to as well because of what's going on. She got scared. She got nervous. She got worried. And then she wanted to figure out, okay, this little thing that bothered me about my boyfriend, maybe that's not much of a big deal. How can I approach it in a way that will not make him basically leave me? She's getting worried. Now, guys, again, good news, because until culture in society changes, until laws change and culture and society changes, the behavior that we see from modern women, that they feel like they can do this. Like, again, the perfect relationship, and this girl was cheating on this guy over and over and over again. Man, until all of that changes, the modern behavior will not change. But men are making moves with their feet, walking away from the game, literally being like, no, I'm happy to not commit. In fact, it's like to the point where there were times in my life since I've been single for so long and dated so many different women where people would try to make me feel guilty, of course, about my decision. And I didn't want a relationship. I just never have wanted that. I don't want that. I like my freedom, But it's like to the point where now it's like, wow, guys, what a beautiful gift. Other than, I agree, if you want a family and all that, it really sucks. It sucks for the situation these days, for men. But when you look at it on the bright side, it's like, wow, guys, these women have given us the greatest excuse to not have to commit at all, and you're so justified in that commitment. Again, this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where, and I know there's crazy laws, like especially UK, Australia, and all that stuff where it just seems to get worse and worse and worse, but there will be a breaking point and then things will change. I don't know what that will look like necessarily, but I just thought this was an interesting story I wanted to share with you guys. And I don't know, what do you guys think about this story? Are you seeing the same thing? Are you seeing that women are actually starting to wake up a little bit? Now, again, that doesn't mean they're changing their behavior, but at least going, oh, weird, I am realizing that a lot of my friends are single now, or I'm realizing that a lot of guys, they're not approaching me anymore and all that stuff. Are you guys seeing that too? Because I just thought this was a great example from somebody that I had talked to for years and years and years, and now her and I had a totally different discussion than we ever have had, and she was worried because she sees it too. She knows what's coming kind of internally, I guess. But I just want to share that with you guys. Hey, freedom, stay single, or, at least do not move in, do not let her move in, and do not get married, my guys. Just not a good deal right now. Amen to the freedom. I appreciate you all, and let me know your thoughts below.
Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, share the video, but definitely subscribe.